1. And welcome in to the Grind on Sports podcast, episode 21 here. First episode in July here in 2023. Man, the year's flying by, Ben. But I'm Wayne Kaiser, my sidekick right here to my right, or my left, your right, but is Mr. Ben Metz. Ben, June screamed through. It's July. Just a couple more weeks until preseason football kicks off. USFL just finished last night. I mean, sports don't stop for anybody.
Yeah, man. I just got back from Florida, and unlike the baseball team, which is cold, dropping all those losses to the Atlanta Braves, it was hot down there, buddy. I hit the weather perfect down there. Enjoyed a very fun beach vacation with my daughter, my son, and my wife. And so excited to be back and talk some sports with you, buddy.
Good deal. A lot to talk about. Again, a little bit of housekeeping. Obviously, we talked last time. Tennessee baseball Vols on the shelf for 2022 and 3 season, but are well in tow for improving their roster heading into 2023, 2024 as they look to the transfer portal to do so. Also, some recruits coming in that are going to make some good headway. But Ben, no sleep for college athletics anymore. In the days of NIL, in the days of transfer portal, you've got to hit the meat market, as old Coach O used to say, and you've got to find who improves your roster, who does what you need from those that left, and ultimately you got to see where you're at. One big announcement since our last show: Chase Burns, not a surprise. Has entered his name into the transfer portal, looking to leave Tennessee. Not sure the whole story there. My hunch, my opinion is Tony Vitello wasn't willing to be benevolent and give him a starting job as of 2 weeks ago, and so I think he's looking for a coach that's willing to pull that trigger.
Yeah, I think you and I heard it during football season. Lane Kiffin talked about how a new responsibility for these coaches is, as soon as the season starts to come to an end or throughout the season, you're trying to also get the vibe of your current football roster or your current baseball roster in Tony Vitello's case, because you have to try to keep guys on the roster instead of hitting the portal midway through the season or at the end of the season. So we saw that pretty quickly in baseball. We saw that throughout the football season. And yeah, to your point, Wayne, I think Chase Burns had some animosity about losing that starting position and not getting a chance to get it back as the season progressed and he started to show his capability. At the end of the day, Vitello said that basically, as coaches, we're going to put our team in the best position to win, and he did so. He put the team in a position to compete against the best in the College World Series, LSU, the team that went on to win the World Series. So we'll see where he ends up. Rumor is he may be going to TCU.
I think that for me, I want him out of the SEC. I don't want to see him on any frequency the next couple years. I do wish him the best. I think TCU gives him a place to be in the Big 12. You don't have near the firepower 1 through 9 on everybody's roster that you're going to see, so he could dominate a little bit, put himself in a good position for the Major League Baseball draft. But, it's one of those deals, though. I tell people all the time, these people that leave or whatever, they throw out that hashtag VFL. No, you're not. Have a good time. I wish you the best, but that bridge is burnt, buddy.
Yeah, and we also heard during the NCAA Super Regional from the NCAA commissioner about NIL and that there's no transparency on these deals that are being made. So nobody really knows how much money a lot of these athletes are getting paid. So, for example, with softball, when we saw Allie Shipman leave after 2 years playing catcher for the Lady Vols and then going to Alabama, we don't know if NIL was involved or not, but our assumption is that it was. And then very similar to Joe Milton leaving Michigan, coming to Tennessee. But in this case, is NIL involved? Because Chase Burns is a very valuable pitcher. He's going to be a number 1 draft pick. And he's going to be a guy that you can put on your baseball roster, and you're guaranteed to win multiple games with him on the hill. You're going to be a better baseball team right away. So he's going to be a big acquisition out of the transfer portal. And the question is that we have to see as Tennessee fans, does he leave Tennessee? Or is this just ultimately a game of, I want to see where the dollars are at, and are you going to pay me the way you may have paid Ahuna, you may have paid Griffin, you may have paid Zane Denton, and maybe, and again, this is just a maybe an entertaining piece to talk about. These 3 guys, Denton, Ahuna, and Griffin, left in very good situations and came to the University of Tennessee. Was money involved? We don't know. I'm sure it was.
Well, I think to say it's to what degree. It's like a meteorologist. It's going to rain. It's just they try to help us tell you how much it's going to rain. No, money's involved, obviously. But by the way Tony Vitello talked, and would I welcome Chase Burns back? Unfortunately, I'm the scornful girlfriend that says, yeah, I'll take him back. But I tend to like what Steve Sarkisian in Texas does. Once you put your name in the portal, you're gone. You can't come back. But the way Tony Vitello talked on the Animal just a few days after the announcement, they expected this. They understand this. They wish him the best. And to me, Tony was turning a page. Tony said no words about trying to re-recruit Chase Burns. So to me, that ship may have sailed and it may be headed out west.
Yeah, I'm like you. I take Tim Irwin's approach. So 40 goes east and 40 goes west. 75 goes north and 75 goes south. So if you don't want to play for the University of Tennessee, I'll help you pack.
Yeah, right. But now Burns isn't the only person that's leaving the Vols in the transfer portal right now. Logan Chambers, a utility player, he hit the portal. He hit 220 in 37 games, 19 starts, 1 homer, 7 RBIs after transferring from a junior college ranks. So just not seeing the field. So he's going to try to find him a place somewhere else. Hollis Fanning, a pitcher. He gained a bullpen role as a junior at Tennessee, struck out 24 in 14 1/3 across 15 appearances, including a handful of SEC outings. He's 6'7" and made 25 appearances in 3 seasons with 1 start. Jake Fitzgibbons, another pitcher. He had the biggest role in his 3rd season, still more of a bullpen guy, posted a 3.75 ERA in 12 innings and 17 appearances from Mount Juliet. He pitched in 30 games in 3 years at Tennessee. And then Alex Stanwich, an outfielder. He was one of the top incomers in the 2022 recruiting class, took the spring semester off to get some things sorted out, and that is in quotations. And then Vitello said in February he's expected, that he would be full go this next season, but he's going to hit the portal and see what he can find out. So those are the guys leaving Tennessee. So
every one of those guys has what I call, and you can look this up on WebMD, Wayne, and back check me. I call it Shroudpox. It was named after JT Shroud. Okay, Shroudpox. It's an illness that you get when you start practicing.
So do you contract it, or are you born with it?
No, that's the thing. That's the thing about Shroudpox. It's not a contagious illness. It's something that you develop after understanding and realizing that, guess what, you're not going to be the guy, and you have the ability now in this system to change schools, maybe 3 or 4. And I think JT's on his 4th school now, but I mean, these are guys that aren't getting the playing time because they haven't earned it, and they're looking for an opportunity elsewhere to get that playing time so that they can up their draft level status.
I will say, though, I mean, I'm a college football fan, number one, pro football fan, number two, and it's for good reason, because in college in general, a guy comes on your campus, you get to know him for 4 years, 5 years for in some cases. You get to see him grow. You get to see guys like it's guys like Grant Williams. It's guys like I'm trying to think in different sports, Evan Russell, Luke Lipsius, those guys where they had their shortcomings, and then as a senior kind of blossomed and show what they could do. But in the days of NIL, the days of the transfer portal, you're not guaranteed to know these kids anymore. It's like coaches. Now it's I'm not making it here. I'll just pack up and go on my way. And I don't know. I don't know that I like that. I mean, I understand the advantage it gives the student athlete, but as a fan, as a follower and a believer in the university, to me, I guess I'm a measure twice, cut once kind of guy. I'm almost going to prove myself that I can make it there before I just jump ship. I don't know.
A guy like Logan Chambers, who, again, we were his second school, he's going to his third. In Major League Baseball, and it's very similar to NFL football, your window of time is very small. So, if you become a 30-year-old in Major League Baseball, that's almost ancient. I mean, there's very few guys like Nelson Cruz, and trying to think of another guy playing currently that has played for a while, Miguel Cabrera,
sure,
that are able to play well into their 40s. So that window of time is so small, and these guys are looking at it and saying, I'm 20 years old. I've got to get drafted. I've got to get drafted in a high round. I can't get drafted in a low round. So I got to find a school where I can get some big attention fast and develop, and get drafted round 2, round 3. So that way I can start at least in single A, not high A. So I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just the time we live in. But some people that have made their way to Knoxville out of this portal, so it's another one of those good riddance. Come on in. I mean, it's the funniest thing. But we've got AJ. I think it's Causey. He announced his commitment to Tennessee after 2 seasons at Jacksonville State. He's a right-handed pitcher. He's got a 5-4 record, 5.07 ERA. I know those are wowing you right now, Ben. As a sophomore, served as a game 1 starter in most of their outings. Struck out 89 in 76 1/3 innings. Was a reliever as a freshman and earned 9 saves with a 2.61 ERA. Struck out 58 in 48 1/3 innings as a freshman. So I like this kid. Looks like a bullpen guy. Doesn't look to be coming in as a starter, but you need all you can get when you've got people exiting the program and graduating. We still do that in college.
Yeah, Causey, he's a big guy, and he's a power guy. Very excited to have him at the University of Tennessee. I think you're absolutely right. I think he's going to just be that piece that we need in that bullpen to help support the pieces that we've already got there. So I think Tony did really well with the transfer portal with Causey to add him to the pitching team.
Yeah, another addition from the transfer portal, Cannon Peebles. You may hear that name and know that name. Yeah, you should, because he's an all-ACC freshman selection at North Carolina State just this past season. A switch-hitting catcher that hit .352 with 12 homers, 50 RBIs in just 39 games. A true catcher, Ben. I'm not sure we've had one since Tony Vitello's been there. We've had athletes behind the plate, and we've had guys that work really hard. But I don't know that we've had a catcher since Tony's been there.
Yeah, this is like the Spike from Little Giants. I love this kid's name, man. Cannon Peebles. Love it, man. So I just, foresee him coming, in the moving truck, and, he's carrying the couch out of the truck, and dad's just kind of watching with his arms crossed. But, we haven't had a catcher. You and I talked about this off air. We've kind of made do with different guys behind the plate for the last couple of years. And we've come to find that with our pitchers and the amount of time that they allow our catchers, we need someone back there to manage the game. And I saw a video, Wayne, not long ago of Yadier Molina, and you can look it up. It's online. I know they talk about Yadi and how great he is, but Yadi's standing up. There's a runner on first. There's a runner on second. And Yadi's looking at the visiting dugout. He's watching the signs being relayed from the manager to the third base coach. He watches the mannerisms of the third base coach towards first base. He watches the first base coach talk to the runner. The runner changes facial expression. And right after that facial expression changes, Yadi makes a small gesture to his right knee, and he does a pitch out. Gets the ball, catches the runner in a rundown. They tag the runner in the rundown. The guy coming from third delays on the steal. They throw home, they get the double play, and they walk off the field. And that was all started by a guy that is a Hall of Fame catcher. So when you get a guy like this, that's what's very exciting. Catching isn't something that you can easily teach someone. And with Cannon Peebles' case, this guy has been a catcher since he was a little kid. So very excited to have him.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, it's just it's working the home plate umpire. It's settling down pitchers. It's seeing those tendencies and really being prepared to look for them. You know, I think in a lot of ways, you know, you talk about Evan Russell, probably a guy that worked as hard at being a catcher his senior year as anybody. But I would say 80% of the time he was going, Evan, don't screw up. Evan, don't screw up. He wasn't saying, oh, I wonder if he's going to steal right here. I wonder if what the sign here to there is. He's just going, catch the ball and get it back to him. Catch the ball and get it back to him. So I think you're right. I think the skill set, the muscle memory, the just I'm going to be the best at what I can be and what I have been working on my craft. That comes with Cannon Peebles. The next one's Nate Snead. Not sure he's a Chase Burns replacement, but he can touch the triple digits. He's a big-time velocity guy pitching, touches 100 miles an hour often, was a freshman at Wichita State last season, posted a 3.16 ERA in 24 appearances, Ben, 53 strikeouts in 42 2/3 innings as a freshman.
Going to be another big arm to add to the gaps that we need to fill. And with that kind of velocity, you know, you start to think about Ben Joyce and even Chase Burns. You know, you start to think about those guys that'll be able to come in and bring that intensity.
Yeah, and then lastly, just an addition yesterday, Ryan Galani, he was the SoCon Player of the Year, hitting .383 with 17 homers, 66 RBIs for the Wofford Terriers. He hit .339 in 4 seasons with the Terrier and was a 2-time All-SoCon selection. He's going to be a one-and-doner. He's a grad transfer, but he started first base last season after starting third base in 2022. They say he can play first, third, and outfield. And so we'll see where he plays into the system at Tennessee. But to me, this is a ball player. It's the guy who he can get in where he fits in and make a big impact to the ball club.
Yeah, and like I said earlier in this segment, that with NIL, you know, this is an example where a guy's going from Wofford to the University of Tennessee. You can see that's a big jump. You're going to get arguably better coaching. You're going to get more views on national television to up your draft status. But where he is at and what he has been doing, again, and this is my speculation, so I own it. It's just my opinion about it. I'm curious if there's some NIL dollars involved to pull somebody, say, hey, you know, you're playing for Wofford, you know, and you're putting up numbers to get drafted, but why don't you come here? Let's compete at a high level, get you more television, and we'll pay you. You know, who knows, but happy to have him.
Yeah. I think the opportunity to play in the Southeastern Conference is draft stock central. You know what I'm saying? Because you're looking at it you're going to see high velocity pitchers. You know, not that Wofford didn't have midweek games with some big time opponents. I'm sure they did. But the Southern Conference probably just doesn't. It's not polluted with 100-mile-an-hour pitchers, which is what you'll see in the Southeastern Conference. You're going to be, like you said, on national TV a ton more. You're going to have a lot more fans in the stands. You're going to have NIL money. You know, I'm sure he had NIL's polluted everywhere. I think it's even at Carson Newman and ETSU, but it's a difference between selling some T-shirts and all of a sudden you don't pay for anything.
Yeah, my wife gives me NIL money bi-weekly. I get NIL dollars.
Yeah, mine's in absence of my name, image, and likeness. I don't get NIL money. I get it so I keep my mouth shut. But but anyway, a lot to be had. You talk about the transfer portal. Anybody who's watched Tennessee baseball knows that the 2023 team benefited from the transfer portal. Griffin Merritt. You talk about Zane Denton. And you talk about there's the third one.
Maui Ahuna.
Those three by far and away impacted this baseball club. Now, obviously, we had our growing pains with Ahuna early, not allowing him to play in certain things. But Griffin Merritt, Zane Denton. Zane stayed quiet most of the season, but was a steady Eddie. And then when it mattered most in the regional, super regional, he was big game Zane. So I think we have seen the benefit from the transfer portal. Hopefully, Lightning can find its way again to Knoxville, but it looks like Tony's doing his work. And we'll see where these kids fit in after the draft, after we understand what we're losing, and then everything kind of settles down for the kind of late summer months and early fall.
Yeah, and also one other big-name player that we benefited from this year was Halverson. So Halverson had a great had a great
2 year ago transfer portal guy. Yeah, he's and the thing is, I don't think you can ever stop. I don't think you can stop recruiting. I don't think you can stop transfer portal checking. I don't think you can stop talking to your current players. So probably a big reason why Tony Vitello's not married or doesn't have any kids. I think he's married to Tennessee baseball right now. But talking about being married to Tennessee baseball, Danny White made a strong one-need approach to Tony Vitello and announcing an extension to the Lindsey Nelson expansion and renovations. Really a beautiful rendering dropped earlier this week about Tennessee Lindsey Nelson Stadium, what it could look like after renovations are done, going from 4,300 max to a 7,600 seating capacity, luxury boxes, run down the third baseline, a grand entrance off Pat Summit Way. Just an amazing looking stadium. Obviously, it doesn't have the key pieces Ben would want in a wall extending renovation, but man, what a I don't know, a centerpiece if you'll call it, but definitely a crown jewel in the SEC once this thing's done.
Yeah, what I really like about what Danny White did is he took the feedback from the fans and he expanded the first and third baselines, multiple tiers, larger concourses, more entertainment pieces out behind the fence there for kids and families that bring families that come to the ballpark. So he's looking for, I thought it was best said when he was talking about looking for the ultimate baseball experience. And he wasn't just kind of limiting that to NCAA. He's talking about Major League Baseball, college baseball. How can I maximize the baseball fan experience because these fans deserve it? So very excited about the nearly $100 million of renovations that they're going to be doing in Lindsey Nelson.
Yeah, I like it. Looks like this, one thing that looks like in this most recent rendering that is not necessarily in this first phase or in this package anymore was the indoor facility. I don't know if you noticed that. It is no longer in the picture. But I think the wider concourses, it's basically going to shut down that road in between Lindsey Nelson and the practice field. I'm not sure if that's going to Monday, because like over at Kneeland, they close down Philip Fulmer Way during game days and such, but it's a functioning road any other day. I don't see that being the case here with Lindsey Nelson. It looks like they were able to preserve the back street that went on the outfield, which I thought they were going to have to lose that too. But the porch looks to be a more significant piece of the puzzle now. The concourse down third baseline, it's not going to end there at basically the grass. It's going to continue on. There's going to be like high top seating and different things on first and third base side. It's going to be it's honestly going to be what a Division I Southeastern Conference baseball facility needs to look like. And I know for a long time we didn't perform to the level that warranted that. But I think the last 5, 6, 7 years have definitely put a bunch of tickets in the hat, and Danny White pulled out a winner with this latest rendering.
Yeah, he wanted to add not only the venue to maximize the venue, but to add the player development areas. And he did get some approval underneath the stadium to add world-class player development areas. So that's going to help Tony Vitello with recruiting as well.
Right. And then, of course, not to be outdone, some more renovations announced for Neyland Stadium. And I like it because it's on the south end zone. It is Gate 10's entrance. Obviously the brickwork started in the north, and then it's kind of wrapped around the front side. But really, Gate 10 and around that engineering side had kind of been left untouched, honestly. They'd been doing inner work, like in the concourse, putting the new video boards in, all the stuff like that. But really no exterior impact beyond, I guess you would say, probably entrance, I don't know, maybe 15, 16, right there at the when the straightaway starts again. So this new look for Neyland Stadium has a grand Gate 10 entrance, still keeps the one ramp, which is just in our family pretty historic because my wife's grandfather, that's his entrance. That's where he went up. So when they showed the rendering where that was gone, we were a little upset. So the fact that that's back, we're pretty excited. But really, if the south end zone can just get any better, I'm happy with it. Just wider concourses, maybe better bathrooms, or just less leaks. I'm good with that too. So anything to help us out down there.
Yeah, you guys have had some pretty entertaining experiences this year on the south side, and I know you grew up a Southie. I knew when they rolled the dollars out, the Southies were going to be ecstatic, and I call them the Norsemen. So my father-in-law, I've been hanging out with him watching ball games from the north side. So the Norsemen are a little bit tore up about the initial phase 1 of Neyland Stadium, but they'll just wait. They've had their bar and things.
I'm just saying they've got Petros and we don't, so I don't want to hear it. But anyway, but no, I'm good with it. Re-signed, redid our season tickets, so we're counting it down. I think it's 62 days now. If Randy the mailman listens to this podcast, he'll correct us if we're wrong. But I will say I'm excited about Tennessee football. However the concession stands are managed, however the beer lines work, however the entrance gates scan my ticket, I don't care. I'm ready for some football. But it's good to see that Danny White, he never ceases to amaze me. I think ultimately we have crawled out of a bad spot with Danny White. And Dondi Plowman, she was just announced as she was put on a board for the SEC's kind of a governance committee, if you will. But those two key cogs, they when I say a holistic approach to athletic excellence, that's an understatement. Those two really are attacking every sport that we have, from softball, volleyball, basketball, baseball, football. Heck, even the Regal Stadium, I think, got new turf last year. So this is a group of administrators and leaders that I think they're good for the University of Tennessee, probably long term. But it looks like they ain't wasting any time. They don't have a 10-year plan, Ben. They're hitting it now.
Yeah, two key pieces of this renovation project that I really liked when they rolled it out. Number one, that was one of them. Yeah, So one of those, that was my second one. But yeah, the Wi-Fi, if you're waiting in a concession line, most of the time you don't know what's going on with the ball game. So by fall of 2024, there should be full stadium Wi-Fi connectivity. So that's something to be very excited about as a fan. If you're waiting in line and you're trying to see what's going on with the ball game. But the other one was the dollars. So the budget went from $49 million to $337 million. So
it's a little bit of an upgrade.
So as a fan, that tells me that we have a lot of money vested in winning championships at this university, whether that be with the stadium and the fan experience, or that be with the players and the coaches. So I'm very excited as a Tennessee Vol fan where we are after last season and where we're headed over the next couple years.
Yeah, I think absolutely. And I think it'll be interesting to see, in that lower bowl when you go down to get certain things, there's only so many places you can get the Dunkin' coffee or hot chocolate. There's only so many places you can get the frozen lemonade and all that stuff. But one thing that I learned from the Atlanta Braves game we went to was going to the concession stand shouldn't mean you have to miss the game. When you went to the Atlanta Braves, when you walked up the concession stand, at the very top of the stands, on either side of the concession stand was a TV with the game on. If you turned and went to the bathroom, they had the radio. Well, I don't know if it was the radio, but it was the broadcast of the game going in the bathrooms. You walked back out, and if you had to stand, which they didn't have any lines, I think that's the algorithm we got to figure out, is how not to have lines. But which they had a lot less people there, I'll say that. But they never made me miss the game. Like, I never had to go, I got to go to the bathroom, but I got to wait till this inning's over, or I got to wait till this hitter comes up, or I got to do this. Why? I mean, I'm going to hear it. I'm going to see it. Whatever I need to do all the way through the stadium, through the battery, through anything. Because I was hearing pregame interactions outside in the battery. So the thing is that fan experience and that side of it, I think they call it the 360 fan experience down there. That's what is crazy, and what is, you don't know you want it until you have it, and then now you want it. So to me, I think that would be really cool, especially in the upper deck side of things. I've seen that down low where they've got, the really nice brick concession stands. They've got TVs with the games on it. But that needs to make its way. Get some waterproof boxes to put the TVs in, or whatever you got to do. But I need to see the game when I'm in the 40-person line to get an $8 drink.
Yeah, when I was reading over the renovations, I was trying to figure out what a vomitory is, because they, in phase one, fall 2023, they say brick cladding around in bowl vomitories. And then the fall of vomitory, and then the new restrooms under gate 10 ramp. Now,
did you Google it?
No, I've looked it up. And then, fall 2024, brick cladding around in bowl vomitories, phase 2.
Vomitories.
I know on the south side they got vomitories.
But the whole thing's a vomitory.
Yeah.
So you know what a vomitory is?
It's a trough, right?
No, it has nothing to do with it. It's a terrible name for what this is. It's the chutes that go in and out of the stadium. Like, you come down the steps and go in.
Yeah.
A vomitory, my spelling was VOMITORY. Pretty sure that's correct. It says a passage that allows people to enter or leave an auditorium or stadium.
Okay.
So that's just those chutes.
Okay.
So
I was just making sure that wasn't trough.
That was a slight at a Southie. I know what that was. But anyway.
Put bricks around the troughs in the south bathroom,
I'd just be happy if they keep the water running. Sometimes the water stops running. That's when the problems start, buddy.
Yeah. It's hard to explain that to Kneeland and Jackson, isn't it?
Nope. No, it's real easy. Keep your eyes forward. That's what I tell them. But Ben, I think we're going down a path that we don't need to go down. But I'm appreciative of whatever's done. Obviously, I've been going long enough. As long as they'll keep playing football yard line to yard line, I don't care what I sit in. I'm sitting as high as I need to, probably ever going to. So it's fine. There's not a bad seat in the house. It's good.
Nope.
But talking about what is current, though, of course, Tennessee football 62 days away. So excited about that. But right now, if you see mine and Ben's hat, we're in full-blown Major League Baseball time. My Bravos just finished off the Miami Marlins, 8 straight wins. Basically won 8 straight, lost 1 to Cincinnati, and then have put 8 straight back on them. What Ben told me before we went on, now they have the best record in baseball. I knew they had the best record in the National League, but looks like just a strong outing for the Bravos. Really, a cohesive team, obviously led by the bat of Ronald Acuna. 3 All-Stars currently announced on this team, a pitching staff that has had their struggles, but ultimately, thigh guy Strider and a lot of other guys in that bullpen have been able to pick up the slack from the injuries of the aces there early on. So I'm excited for what July looks like for the Braves, but it's I say it every single year. It's not how you're performing in June and July. It's how you perform in September and October. But right now, Braves are putting themselves in a spot to at least have a few mulligans down the stretch.
Yeah, and that 8-game win streak was against top-tier competition in Major League Baseball. So without a doubt, not just by record are they the best team in baseball. This team, top to bottom, and yes, they have some questions in their bullpen, but overall, this is a team that is going to be very difficult to beat in the postseason. This 8-game stretch was against Cincinnati. It was against Minnesota. It was against Miami. Cincinnati and Minnesota, after playing Atlanta, went to go play my Orioles, and they took care of business against us. So we dropped 2 of 3 to Minnesota, dropped 2 of 3 to Cincinnati, and it's just been a kind of a rough go of it. We were on a 4-game losing streak before defending the sweep today 2-1 against Minnesota. But overall, what an exciting baseball season. And let's talk a little bit about, the elephant in the room with the New York Mets. The acquisitions that they made before the season had started, the big names that are in that clubhouse. And yeah, there's been some injuries. I mean, they're putting a lot of blame on the fact that they don't have their closer. But they're not performing. They're a team that sits 37 and 46, 18 and a half games out of first place. And at this point, very far out of the wild card. So there's teams with a lot of money on payroll and not performing. So,
yeah, I was looking. I told you off air leading up to this. The Braves' major payroll is $140 million, and that's the likes of Ozuna, Albies, Riley, Olson, and then a couple pitchers there. Max Fried, and then a couple other ones. Also combined for $140 million as Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, and like 2 other players.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them seem to be on some big name programs that aren't necessarily performing very well. But Braves, this series, and really what's been important for the Braves is, yes, they've done some pretty good things, but ultimately when they've played in division opponents, they've been able to spread the gap a little bit. Marlins now 9 games back, Phillies 12 games back, Mets 19 games back, and the Nationals 22 games back. Braves could stop playing baseball for a couple weeks, and the Nationals can't catch them.
Yeah, I don't think too many analysts in Major League Baseball thought that the New York Yankees would be sitting 9.5 games back in third place, even with their current roster, injuries or not. I don't think that they would have predicted St. Louis to be in last place in the Central. I know they wouldn't have predicted the Mets to be 18.5 back before the All-Star break, to be completely out of competition in the NL East. So it is very interesting. I think there's some teams that are kind of what people predicted. The Minnesota Twins were predicted to do very well. Texas was predicted to do very well. I think you're starting to see a lot of talent with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They went through many years of losing baseball, and they're starting to see those first-round draft picks start to make a name for themselves, 50 and 34 on the season. So it's going to be an exciting finish, and there's going to be more teams this year, Wayne, in the wild card. So it should be pretty exciting.
They were kicking around, some expansion talk a few weeks ago. Me and my buddy Josh, he's a big Smokies fan, so he kind of follows the Cubs organization, and he was saying that the expansion may look to Nashville, may look to Charlotte to add a couple teams, and he said he'd struggle to understand who he was going to be a fan of then, because you'd really kind of think in state you'd like to look to the Nashville team to see what they look like, but I say all that to say, he said, the talk is if more expansion happens, they may have to realign some of the the divisions and even possibly not have an ALNL. Maybe just have this big pod system. I know all SEC people cringe when I say pods, but you know who I think would benefit a lot from that? The Central divisions in both sides. I'm sitting here looking at the AL Central. Minnesota Twins are a half game in the lead of that division. They're 42. They're below 500. They're 42 and 43. The Red Sox, who are 13 and a half games back in the AL East, would lead that division. The Angels, who are 7 games back in the AL West, would lead that division. In the National League, the Central Division is also the weakest division there. The Brewers and Reds are tied for the lead there. But the Pirates, the Reds would lead the AL Central. The Brewers would lead the AL Central. Even the Phillies, who are 12 games back in the NL East, would lead the AL Central. So to me, some of that is it would be good for some realignment, because it looks like in both AL and NL there are some stagnation in that Central division, and that just seems to be this year's case. But that it wouldn't hurt a few of these teams to get reshuffled up to have some opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, Boston is far enough out at this point in the season. Yeah, I mean, anything's possible with 80-plus games left to go in the season. But at 14 games out, historically, going in the second half of the season, you're not going to make that up and win the AL East. So
the thing is that AL East is so strong in the American League. Unless they finish third in the AL East, they can't even get a wild card.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, so if they were in the Central, they would lead the Central. They would look at clinching. Their fight is to clinch that division. And they have a chance.
Yeah.
Boston would have a chance of doing that with that competition. But yeah, to your point, that's a very interesting topic to discuss, because Boston doesn't have that luxury, and it's just going to be very difficult for them to get in a wild card contention with the competition that they play.
Right, and I know you talked about the Yankees a little bit and the payroll and what, but I don't think they can play any worse baseball, honestly. Now, I know their pitcher had a perfect game the other day, and that is something that you can't time that. You can't do that. But at the end of the day, they're as low as that. I think that talent level is going to be. When Judge gets back, I think they'll take a click up. I think just him being in the lineup puts things into a different rotation. And so I think they're going to play better baseball. Now, is that enough to get into a position to get a wild card spot? Because I don't think they're in a place to catch the Rays unless the Rays just nosedive, which they have. They haven't necessarily been bulletproof in their last 10 games. So, but I think if you look at it, the Orioles are sitting pretty for a wild card spot. It's basically them and the Astros and the Yankees right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you said, to your point, I think Aaron Judge comes back. They're going to make a push, and we've got the trade deadline coming up. I look for Cashman to make some moves, and usually he's been known when the Yankees are in a position like this, he makes really good decisions and puts the team in a very good place for the rest of the year to compete for a wild card and even a World Series championship. The thing that you would typically hear from New York Yankees fans is that some of those deals, they can really take you back. A couple of years back was the Soriano move to the Cubs at the trade deadline, and he came back to the New York Yankees the year after. But Soriano was part of that team that helped lead that team to the World Series in 2016.
Yeah, he's a really good one. But I tell you, maybe one of the best decision makers right now in Major League Baseball is Alex Anthopoulos, GM for the Atlanta Braves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can tell you, finding young talent, getting prospect talent that you don't have to pay for, that develops into big time talent. He's as good as I've seen in a long time. So I'm excited to have him on our side of the street. But Ben, a lot to be had in Major League Baseball. But looking at it right now, Give me the 3 hottest teams in baseball and give me the 3 cellar dwellers in Major League Baseball.
So the Atlanta Braves, without a doubt, I think are the best team in baseball, not just by record, but top to bottom. You and I have talked about Ozuna. Just unbelievable what he can do as a baseball player. I think it's going to be difficult to find an MVP, short of Shohei Ohtani, for Major League Baseball. So Atlanta Braves number 1, number 2, Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Just unbelievable what Coach Cash can do with that team. These are a lot of guys. These aren't big names in Major League Baseball, but he does an excellent job managing the roster, and they continue to win. Over 600 winning percentage right now. Number 3,
kind of a toss-up.
And maybe it's recency. So I'm cautious a little bit with this, but we just got done playing the Minnesota Twins, and I really like their pitching rotation. Kyle Farmer, that outfield is crazy, dude. Byron Buxton out in center field, arguably the best center fielder in the game. Any ball hit out to right center between him, Kyle Farmer, and I think the other guy is Kapler. Those 3 guys had made some miraculous catches on defense. And when they get up to the plate, you also got used to play for the Yankees, but he tore us up pretty good. Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo hit 2 home runs in this series against us. I'm going to put Minnesota Twins number 3, buddy.
So, again, kind of recency drives mine. Mine's the same top 2. I think the Braves number 1. I think the Rays number 2. 3 and 3B. it was between the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. And honestly, the reason I put Diamondbacks ahead of them is out of their last 10 games, they're 7-3, where the Rangers are 5-5. So I think recency is a thing. And so I'm going to put them as my 3rd spot. Cellar dwellers, I'll go ahead and take that. Obviously, I think if you're still in the 20s in the winning category, you're going to be right there. I don't know that you have to put a 1, 2, 3 on this. The Athletics, the Royals, and the Rockies. All right, let's go with the Nationals. Anytime I can beat up on an NL East team, I'll do that. Let's put the Nationals as the number 3 cellar dweller for me.
Those are good picks. I'm going with Oakland. I think you've got to put if you've got the worst record in Major League Baseball, you've got 23 wins.
Your money ball ain't adding up this year, buddy.
Yeah. So I've got them there. I've got the Chicago Cubs and the New York Mets. And
the 24-win Royals off that list.
No, I'm going to go ahead. This is just for the fans a little bit here.
Realistically, mine was record based. You hit a good chord there with the Mets because all the money invested and they're still terrible. That's a problem.
Yeah, and the Cubs, they went and got Dansby Swanson. They got from the Dodgers. My name's wrong.
Trey Turner, right?
No, not Trey Turner. They got it'll come to me. But they got a couple big name players like Trey Mancini, and his name's going to come to me. But they got 3 guys, paid a lot of money to generate some offense with that Cubs, and they're not playing in a terribly difficult division. So for them not to compete and to be 5 games back of first place, and at a 469 overall winning percentage, them and the Mets are kind of disappointing for me this year.
So then last thing, and we'll close it up here. Who's your sleeper right now? A team that is not on anybody's radar, but that you can sit there and go, I think they may have a little something in the tank.
So not being a Baltimore Orioles fan, I would say I'm going to stick with Minnesota. I watched them play this weekend, and they were scary good. I was surprised we got out 2-1 today. Their pitching is phenomenal. So they got guys in the bullpen, 3 or 4 deep that can hurt you, and they got starters that'll keep the runs at a premium. So their offense isn't overpowering, and I think that's what makes them. A team that nobody's really concerned about, because if Joey Gallo and Byron Buxton and Kapler aren't making big hits, or Kyle Farmer's not hitting the baseball, they can go pretty quiet on offense, but they're going to have the starting pitching, and they're going to have the relief and the closer. This all weekend long, and the Baltimore Orioles have a great offensive baseball team, but all weekend long, runs were at a premium. We were doing everything we could to generate just one run, dropping bunts down in the 3 and 4 hole. So I put Minnesota there.
I found out who they got from the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger.
That's it. Yeah.
So my sleeper, and I don't know that it's a sleeper, because they at one time were listed as the hottest team in baseball, but I'm saying historically they seem to run out of gas at the end. I'm going to put the Reds right there, man, because I'm going to say this. In all the runs that the Braves have had all season, realistically, a lot of teams haven't held close to the Braves night in and night out. And three nights against the Braves, I think it was 7-6, 11-10, 7-6. And so this is a team that knows how to rise to the occasion. They've got some elder statesmen, Joey Votto and those guys. But then they've got some Tennessee power. They've got Nick Senzel in the outfield. And then they've got that Dela Cruz kid that I'm pretty sure could be playing in the NBA. But he's still trying to get his sea legs in Major League Baseball. So I think if he settles in, he's going to be a guy kind of like Acuna that you're going to have to pitch to at some point, and he can make you pay. So I like the Cincinnati Reds. I like their ballpark, what they have going there. And then ultimately they're in a situation, they're tied for the lead in their division, a weak NL Central. I think getting into the postseason is number one, and then they could be violent once they get there.
Playing the San Diego Padres right now, so definitely going to be a good series to watch early this week.
I think that could tell you a lot about how hot they can stay. Because, again, they've cooled since that big 12, 13-game win streak that the Braves broke there a couple weeks ago. But, again, I don't think baseball is about streaks. You want to see how hot you can get and what you can do. But ultimately, I think it's about being your best when it matters, right? And that's staying healthy. That's doing the things you got to do.
Yeah, Great American Ballpark has great in-bowl vomitories as you exit the stadium.
If nothing else, in the last 54 minutes, we have expanded our vocabulary by one.
That's right.
Vomitory, and we should try to inject that at any conversation you have over this holiday weekend. If you're going to a stadium, I'm going to the Smokies game on the 4th, so I'm gonna very document the vomitories that I walk through as I'm entering and exiting the friendliest ballpark in minor league baseball. But anyway, Ben, any closing comments? You got anything cool planned for the 4th? I think it's on Jason Pierre-Paul. We have to show all 10 digits and make sure on our next episode we have those too.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So no big plans. Just going to enjoy some family time. I'm going to try to cook some burgers and dogs on my Weber charcoal with my family. So very excited to experience that the next couple of days.
Cool. I think we did hot dogs the other day, but I'm going to try hamburgers on the charcoal thing. I've been a Blackstone guy for a long time, so I'm going to try to do the charcoal thing this weekend too. But again, have a safe and happy 4th. Hopefully the weather holds out for the ball game on Tuesday. But if you're at Smoky Stadium, I'll be the guy that looks like the walking American flag. So that'll be me. So anything else, Ben? We'll close it up.
Now, happy 4th to all our listeners out there. We appreciate you guys.
Hey, and happy birthday to America, right? July 4th. A lot of people said, we had like a little potluck thing at work, and a lady says, "What are you celebrating? Is it somebody's birthday?" I said, "Yeah, America's." And so, yeah, get out there, celebrate, enjoy family, enjoy your time off. If you have to work, just make good ones. Just get in there and get out and then get home, see your family. But until next time, we're going to continue to ratchet this thing up, count it down to football season. But until next time, take care, be safe, and yes, grind on.